Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your February 2016 reading. I hope that your year has gotten off to a great start, and I can't wait to see what's in store for you. Just to begin, we're going to be looking at the channeled information that came in for this month, and there is a theme as I looked across all 12 signs. I wanted the information to come across as how you could access a latent or a sort of hidden skill that you might have. Also, just an energy that would be more accessible this month. For you, it's the ability to take flight. So I channeled the word flight. I could actually see almost like a superhero, you sailing above challenges, you sailing beyond worries, beyond any sort of doubt in your mind, and being able to get where you wanted to go. So with flight being your operative word, there is going to be an action associated with your sign this month. Some signs are more passive. This one's a little bit more active. So let's take a look and see from a catalyst perspective what you need to do to get into that flight mode. And again, I want you to encourage you to think of this as a gentle flight, but it is something where you need to kind of get above wherever you're at. If you're feeling stuck, unready to sort of move to the next direction, this reading this month for you will be about letting go of that. So first things first, with our catalyst card, what I'm seeing here with the Queen of Light is this is all about finding the truth in the matter. So for some of you, the illumination can simply be to really pay attention to whatever you've been afraid at looking at. Sometimes we don't look at the bills when they come in. Sometimes we stop listening to what people are saying because we're afraid of the truth. This is basically saying whatever it is that you once thought was unbearable or something that made you cringe now has to be something that you fully look at, embrace, maybe even celebrate. Because when we think of the most outstanding, unique people in the world, typically what makes them interesting is what makes them different, because otherwise everyone sort of blends into the same mold. So there was a great campaign by Apple Computer at the time, Apple Inc. now, but it was sort of highlighting all of the misfits in history, and they had like Gandhi and Mother Teresa and sports figures that were sort of trying different things, and scientists like Einstein. So I want you to find whatever it is that you excel at, even if other people don't understand it, and go for it. So for the younger folks that are looking at this, if you're thinking of a path that you want to take in school, maybe your parents want you to be like a lawyer or a teacher, but you really want to be an artist, or whatever it is, you need to start giving your own dreams and ambitions a chance to take flight. And for other people, it might be, again, not being able to fully look at something that you have to bring the world. Being afraid of a gift is another thing. Maybe it is something like this where you're able to see things that other people can't, or you have a unique talent for restoring certain things. Whatever your talent is, even if it doesn't fit into the realm of a 9-to-5 job or what's expected, the universe is sort of calling out from across time and space and saying, you got to go for it. Okay? So let it take flight, shine the light on it, look at it, research it, give it a chance, and then and only then should you make a decision about what it is that you want in your life. Okay? Let's now take a look at, more practically speaking, this month and how it relates to you. Okay. Very exciting month already, I can tell. Central card is the Lord, which is the Emperor, which is all about you taking control, taking power over your life, and ownership over what you want to do. Notice that this is like an ideal card for anyone that wants to enter management, become a manager, become an entrepreneur, or also just, we're talking about shedding that light on what you want. You have to do it by owning the fact that this is me, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Justice is basically telling you to really think about what it is that you want to spend the rest of your life doing. Not just this month, but beyond this month. Notice too the owl, which is all about insight. I immediately think of Athena, but this is a great month for anyone that needs to do any higher education, studying, sort of putting yourself into training. This is a good time for that. Also, justice is about coming to a decision about perhaps your day-to-day job, what you really want to do. This is your steering card, your destiny card. So for some of you, that means leaving. And justice usually is about that. But this, as a clarifying card, is telling me, think about what you want. And really, over the trajectory of the next 10 months or so, you're going to have a chance to do that. Because the cards are very similar. I'm going to separate them here so you can see them. But we start here with the Lord, and we go to the Hierophant, or the High Priest. And what you see now is power to now creativity, to structure, because typically the Hierophant has disciples, has a following, is part of a larger structure. And with this as well, there's a combination of balance between higher and lower vibrations, positive, negative, good, bad. So what you've actually started to establish here with this is the ability to manifest more than you thought possible. It's a beautiful card. And as illustrated in this deck, you'll notice that with it being High Priest, to me this is a combination of magic and structure. So love it. And this is where you're headed towards the end of this month. And I feel for many of you, there may be a combination of creative and spiritual careers. For others of you, this is just about being able to finally own what you want to be doing in your life. Again, I got it right from the beginning that this is not just a typical reading for this sign this month. There's more going on for many of you. The last year, let's face it, the last couple of months for many of you that are looking at this, since this card came up, you had an opportunity to sort of think about what you needed to still accomplish and didn't get a chance to do in 2015. And you might have been feeling a little bit hard on yourself emotionally, maybe disappointed. What I want you to focus on are the 2 cups that remain, and I want you to sort of look at your current path as a 2-year trajectory. I get just as impatient as the rest of you sometimes, because most of us have more than one dream, more than one career aspiration in our life. And so often we're so ready to just get to that final point that we forget all of the ups and downs. The process in and of itself is really what it's about, not so much the destination. So what you view as lost time was actually giving you some a basis for understanding and appreciating where you're going to end up. And what I'm getting from this card is that 2 years, this year being the first of a 2-year cycle. So we're going to really be, I want you by the end of 2017, as you get into 2018, you should be on your new path if you're ready for that. For those of you who are thinking none of this makes sense, what I'll do is I'll pull it back a few notches and say really what December and the end of the year was about, even January, was letting go of maybe some dreams or some expectations, and now it's time to reset. You're pushing the reset. For those of you that don't feel like you're going to make a big life change, then what you have to really do is focus on what's next for you. And this card can be a card of contemplation. It can also be a card of planning, of looking past the mirage, looking past the surface and thinking, what do I really want to do? So I'm getting that for a lot of signs this month. As we were entering into February, last month, this is reversed, so what I'm seeing is probably a little bit more challenging for many of you on an emotional front. Relationships could have been a little trickier than they were in previous months, and I see that continuing into the beginning of this month. So with the Princess of Cups, however, this to me is a seasonal card here as I look at it. So what I see is that about a month and a half more of adjustment with relationships, and then there's going to be an opportunity to shift it around, because when we look here in your ego card, it's the Nine of Cups, which has a tendency to polarize. It's either amazingly horrible or amazingly wonderful, and really what I want you guys to get to is like the Ten of Cups, where it's much more balanced. So if you're feeling a little bit dissatisfied is the word that came to mind, I don't see this as a state of perpetual sort of like unhappiness. In fact, where you're headed is the Prince of Cups. What we see here is 3 weeks of difficulty, moving through some challenging emotions, but the end is worth it, because you have the High Priest as your outcome, and in your hopes and fears, look, we have the Prince of Cups, showing me, for many of you, love is on the horizon, increased emotional stability, and also creative outlets are going to open up for you. You will be able to open up if you're an artist and perhaps produce more work. Socially, you're going to be more adept at going out, talking to people, making friends. In business, you'll be better suited to create new partnerships and work well with your boss and with others. And then for those of you that are students or younger, family situations should be improved, and you'll find your interactions with peers are going to be much easier than they were before. So the last 2 weeks of the month magically turn around. What I'm going to help you navigate, however, is what could pull you away from that very positive ending. So the first one is, many of you may be in a relationship with a sort of, I'm going to use the word needy, but very demanding is a better word, water sign. So Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces could be taking a lot of your energy. And when you look at the Five of Pentacles, the sorrow for some of you, either your own or this person, this sort of heavy water sign that you might be around, could be pulling you in. This was reversed, so when I see Five of Pentacles reversed, I see the energy that it takes, because Pentacles, remember, are all about what's required of you from energy, money, tangible sort of material sort of donations. It's all about how that's getting pulled from you. So what you need to do is reset and think, okay, if it's work and you're working too much overtime and you're not getting paid, either try to get that remedied or say no. And if it's family and you're pulling all the chores and no one else is helping out, then you have to bring that to the surface as well. But with the Five, it's a work. It's basically working through something this month. I also want you to focus on being very, very thoughtful and mindful about your expenditures. This is not a month to make any sort of luxury purchases, to eat out too much, to basically think, oh, it's going to come through. No, you need to actually save, because I'm not getting any other money cards for you this month. So this is a month where the tendency will be to overextend. So I want you to rein it in and think, I need to keep this going for the next few months. I need to have enough to save up, etc. Some of you, it might just be due to boredom, because the Four of Cups is an interesting card. It's a complement to the Five of Cups, and it's showing me you're gradually moving away from some of the sadness. I either want you to go up or down the scales with the cups. So for some of you, you've moved away from maybe pitying yourself or beating yourself up to now wondering, I don't know, is there anything else? And so you go to spending to fill in the gaps. So instead of doing that, I'd rather you get out and try to meet some other people, if that's it, if the friends are not suiting you, because I think towards the end of the month, many of you are going to be in a place where you're going to be more welcoming towards positive relationships, and it's so much more healthy for you to put the focus on attracting, remember, or going towards something that is going to feel much more in line with your sort of mental page. So if people around you are bringing you down, you need to move away from that situation, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now let's take a look at what's affecting your overall health. So we'll look at your health card. Remembering, of course, that this card can include mind, body, and spirit. I need more room to shuffle, so pardon me if I do it off camera here. I just don't want to shuffle on top of these cards, which are very large. Okay. So opening up the heart chakra is going to be very, very beneficial for you. And this means not only physical activity, but also anything that you've sort of been putting off that I think sometimes you work way too hard over the holidays or right after the holidays. You lose sight of why you're working so hard. So bringing something that involves your own passion. It can be a creative endeavor. It can also just be something that makes you smile, makes you happy. But I want you to open up your heart. And then if you're doing any exercises at the gym, any sort of, like, I'm not sure if it's called Nautilus equipment or whatever, but anything where you're opening up this area will be very beneficial for you. You can also, if you do yoga, there's a pose called Cobra Pose where you put your hands out, you stretch your chest back, and you open up this area. So I really want you to work on anything that you can do to open up the ribs and the heart area in your exercise routine. And then as far as activating the heart chakra, it's about generosity, and it's also about what you can do for others. So remember that this is going to help you be overall healthy. The heart area also is about bringing your physical activity to a higher level. So exercise so that your heart gets pumping and so that that wonderful energy around the heart center is moved throughout the body. Let's look at what's affecting your wealth. For wealth, we just mentioned empathy. The interesting thing is when you are empathetic, when you actually can see the other person's point of view, or you, again, are doing something of service, your capacity to accept more love in your life grows. More opportunities are bound. So it's not unusual that both the health and the wealth cards are complementary. So through compassion, through heart expanding activities, you're going to develop empathy. Through empathy, you're going to create more opportunities in your life, and you're going to be happier with the opportunities that already exist. Let's take a look at love. So for many of you, we saw justice at the center. Justice can mean stepping free from a relationship. Now, these are still some of my newer cards, so there's a second card underneath it, which, interestingly enough, shows me that for you, this month is about friendship more than perhaps a traditional dating relationship. So some of you may find that you are letting go and instead moving towards a much more platonic friendship, or taking a relationship that was once more romantic and enjoying just a friendship portion of it. But the key here is that you should be free, and I think some of you need to sort of decouple or pull yourself away from a larger group in order to understand what it is that you want. Remember, taking flight was your key word. Well, this is extending, not surprisingly, into your personal relationships. Now let's take a look at your destiny card and see what it is that's really going to allow you to soar in your life. So the magic of prayer and meditation, and really what this can be is like a vision quest too. Seeing beyond the practical and following your heart's desire. Really embracing that inner dreamer within you. So to summarize this month, tricky for some of you emotionally. When we were looking, a lot of the cups cards were reversed. There was a lot of cards that showed potential dissatisfaction or boredom. If that's the case, it is time to move on. For some of you, it might be a time to explore new love, past those old comfortable relationships into something new, a water sign potentially. And also for some of you, it's just about owning your career path and maybe working on something that's going to be able to be self-sustaining, where you're going to be an entrepreneur. And towards the end of the year, towards October really, you'll be able to be the high priest that we're illustrating in this card. Overall though, remember your channeled information was flight, and part of that was to bring to light whatever you think is unique, scary, unusual about yourself, to do anything you can to activate your heart center through exercise or through generosity. Through your empathy, new business relationships will happen, and perhaps part of your job is going to be to help, or to, it might be some sort of like a nonprofit that you're involved with. Friendship will trump traditional relationships this month, and dating relationships, and it's more about freedom in those friendships and freedom in your dating life. And then your own power of positivity, magic, and prayer is really what's going to tie all of this together. Exciting times for you. I look forward to hearing how this applies to your life. If you ever need a little bit more of a one-on-one reading, I do offer those, and I'm currently booking about a month out into March, so feel free to use one of the links in the corner here and you can book a session with me if you'd like. In the meantime, a great way to sort of stay abreast of what's happening is to subscribe to my newsletter, subscribe to this channel, or you can follow me on social networks like Facebook or Twitter, and I'll put those links here. In the meantime, I really do appreciate all the likes, the subscribes, and the comments. It keeps me motivated, and it reminds me that there's appreciation at the other end of this. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you again in a month. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.